So I saw Monkey Man today, and I was really excited for this movie because of the fact that, I think the lead actor is a fantastic actor. He was in a movie called The Green Knight, which I loved. He was also in M. Night Shyamalan's Last Avatar. Airbender was terrible, and he was also in the movie Chappie, which I thought was also awful, but I'll be honest, I don't remember him in that movie. And he's done tons of movies, but I became a fan of him when it comes to The Green Knight. So I was excited because of the lead actor. I was excited about the fact that I heard about all the praise come out of the festival this movie was shown at. And I was also excited and interested because of the fact that this was a debut for him as a director. So I was excited to see how he, how he was going to be as a director when it comes to him being able to direct and lead a movie. So let me start with one thing. I do think the praise is overhyped, in the sense that this is a good, solid movie, but I wouldn't call it amazing or great. It's not going to be one of my favorite movies of the year, but it's a fun movie. So let me start with the positives. I think the lead actor gives a great performance in there. I really buy him as a badass, especially when you see him progressing and getting better throughout the movie as a fighter. I really buy that journey. And I think he gives a great emotional performance in the movie. Like this, I think he gives a performance where you really do feel for the character and you want him to get his revenge. Like, it's a good revenge story. And then I would say another positive thing about this movie is that I think the cinematography, I think he has a good eye for it. Like, the colors in the movie really look vibrant. I like the look of the movie. And another positive I would say about this movie is that I really like the lore, the mythology behind the Monkey Man, the god they worship. I really like the lore behind it in this movie, and the folk, when it comes to the folklore and the backstory of this lore of this monkey god they worship. I thought that was cool, and I really like the culture, exploring culture in India. Like a culture that I don't know much about, and it was cool to have it be set around India and exploring their culture. I think it has some just cool stuff about the story there. And I would say this definitely feels like a passion project from this director. Like, it feels like this is a movie that he felt really passionate about. I know he got injured on his hand while making the movie, and for somebody who has to who's the lead star of the movie plus the director, you can definitely feel the passion behind this project. And I think the accent, here's the thing about the accent in this movie. There's a negative with the accent in this movie. I think the accent is good when I can see it. And when it comes to another positive, I'll say is that I do like the fact that this movie it does add some mythology and actually some character, but it's not just an action movie. So if you're going into this thinking it's like John Wick, where it's action after action, it's not that. There's some similarities with John Wick, but you can say about every revenge movie or assassin movie. But I do like the fact this movie does try to be more than an action movie. Now, here's the negatives with this movie. Oh, the actor who played the bad guy in it that killed the main character's mom in this movie, I think he does a good job where you really want to see the lead character kill him and get his revenge story, because the actor did a good job of playing a bad guy that was disgusting. Like, he's not the main bad guy, but the one that killed his mom, I think that actor does a good job playing a bad guy. You just kind of go you want the lead character to get his revenge story. But the negatives with this movie is that, one is that I wish we saw more of the monkey mask in the movie that he wears at the beginning. Like, he wears it for a quick second at the end, right before the big third act starts, and then he takes it off. And the fact that this whole movie is about this folklore of this monkey man god, and the whole journey of his character is him starting out as a revenge character, and him getting his revenge. He does get his revenge at the end, but he starts to realize of him wanting to be these characters, and there's some trans-based characters in this, which I didn't personally have a problem with that. So, but there's some characters he meets in the middle of the movie where he's telling him, you gotta be more than. He starts to realize he has to be more of a hero to his people, not just think about, I just want revenge for my mom. So I do like that journey, and I would have liked to have seen him wear the mask more, because it's a cool looking mask, and you don't see him wear it as much as I hoped in this movie. So I think it would have been cool to see him wearing a mask. Now that's more of a nitpick, but I just wish we got to see him wearing a mask more. Like I would like to see him wear it a lot, like in the third act, but that's more of a nitpick. The four negatives I have with this movie is that I think the accent is good when you can see it, but one of the issues I have with this movie is that, and this is something I noticed definitely I think he could improve since this is his first time directing, is that there's a lot of shaky cam in this movie. Because I haven't seen a movie use shaky cam in a while, but it's so overdone in this movie. There was so many, like the first half of this movie is so fanatic, and we'll get into kind of the issues I have with the pacing at times in this movie, but the accent is so fanatic to the point where the camera is shaking so all over the place that, the choreography I think looks good when I can see it, but it's like the camera is shaking so erratically all over the place, and it does a little bit towards the end there too. Not as bad, but I was just like, can you just not shake the camera so much throughout this movie so much? It's like, just keep the camera still. Like, I want to see the accent actually, because the accent looks like it could be good choreographed accent if I could actually see it. And just the shaky cam bit, it's just, he overdoes it in this movie so much to the point of like, it really doesn't make the action scenes enjoyable or look good when you're just constantly shaking it so erratically, like throughout most of the movie. I'm not saying all of the movie, but when it comes to the accent, but there's a lot of the accent in this movie, I'm just like, just stop shaking the camera so much. Just keep it still. So that kind of like, I feel like the shaky cam bit I feel like using the shaky cam was just way overdone in this movie. So that's something I hope he kind of changes in his next movie. Like, he keeps the camera still in the accent and actually lets you see it. So that was one of the big issues I have with the movie. And another one would be the pacing. The middle chunk of the movie, which I can understand why the movie slowed down. It's just the first half is so like fanatic and fast paced, same with the third act, that there's a huge chunk of the middle movie where I'm like, I get why they slowed down. Because they do a training montage and they have the middle chunk of the movie, you see the full flashback because you see flashes what happened to his mom, and you see the full thing in the middle chunk of the movie. And I can understand why the movie slowed down. And like I said, I appreciate the fact this movie is trying to be all these different things, not just an action movie. But I did find myself kind of bored in the middle chunk of the movie where I'm like, the pacing of it just felt off the way the story was put together. It didn't feel like, it felt like in the beginning you're on such a like fast paced, and then you bring it so down to like a very slow moving pace in the middle chunk of the movie for a little bit, and then you go back to like really fast. The pacing just felt kind of all over the place the way the story was put together. So I definitely feel like that's another thing I would like to see him improve as a director, is that, it like do a little bit better job of pacing out the story. Because like I said, the middle chunk of the movie just felt too slow for me. You're coming off of like such a fast pace in the first half. So that was another thing. The pacing felt off in the middle chunk of the movie and slowed down too much for me personally. And for me, there was shots, and this is another thing I definitely noticed that this is the first time directed, is that there are shots where I feel like he lingers on certain shots a little too long. It's like, and even the way the flashes work at the beginning, they're cutting so back to it because it's such a fast pace first half of the movie. That again, with the pace and everything, I did feel like there was shots where I'm like, okay, you're lingering on this too long. Like, I understand this kid went through, when they showed flashes of him as a kid, and even there's shots later on in the middle, I'm like, you linger on this too much. So that was another thing. It's like, I feel like he lingers on certain shots a little too long in the movie. And then the last thing for me is that there's a female character in this movie that's, at the beginning a little bit, disappears for most of the movie, and it has like one scene at the end. I don't know if the character was planning to do more in this movie, but I feel like she was either set up to be a love interest, or she had more story in the movie that involved her being part of the main plot. Because I feel like I'm watching like when she shows up in the movie, I'm thinking, okay, she's gonna be integral to the story in the movie, and then she just disappears for most of the movie, and she shows up randomly for one scene at the end. and that's kind of another issue I had with the movie, is that it felt like she had the character had more story in the movie. It felt like her story got maybe like they deleted a part of her story or something, where she got cut down scene wise, because it just felt like it was setting up to be a bigger part of the story, and she just ends up feeling. But then you feel like, what was the point of the character? You could have cut her character out, to be honest, in my opinion. So it felt like there was some stuff maybe cut out with that character. But overall, look, I think this is a solid debut as a filmmaker. I think there's some stuff that I can definitely see. I hope he, I hope he listens to the issues in his next movie, where you keep the camera steady, work out some of the pacing, how you're pacing the story. But I think he showed potential in this movie. Like, I came out of this movie feeling like this wasn't like, I didn't think this was like a slam dunk for a debut as a filmmaker. Like, I didn't come out going like like Jordan Peele would Get Out. That was like I came out and be like, oh man, this movie was fantastic. That was a slam dunk for Jordan Peele's first movie. With this director, I feel like I came out of this movie going like, okay, he showed potential. I'm really just interested to see what he does next, because I think he does have a good eye. I just think he needs to. You can definitely tell in this movie he was trying to figure out his directing style, the lead actor, and how he directs the accent. So it's definitely one of those things where I'm like, he showed a promise, and I think he does a solid, good job, but I could definitely see some flaws when it comes to his directing in this movie. But overall, I think Monkey Man is worth checking out. It's not a movie that I will call fantastic. It's not going to be one of my favorite movies of the year or anything like that, because I think those things kind of held it back from hitting that level of me saying it was great. But it is worth checking out. I definitely think it's a movie that you go see in theaters. It's not a movie you used to wait till watch on streaming or at home. So overall, fun movie, not fantastic, but worth checking out in theaters. So that's all my thoughts on Monkey Man. Until next time, movie fans.